Welcome back to 92.3 Nigeria Info. At this time, we get to transition into Standout, and to do that, I've got with me in the studio Mr. Patrick Uduma. Good morning. I'm so used to afternoons. Good morning and welcome to the studio.
Always nice to see you.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. I know it has been a while indeed. Such a pleasure to see you again. All right, so let's get right into the conversation. Today, what are we talking about?
End it.
End it.
End it.
Just that. Wow.
Just that.
All right. Can't wait to hear. I can't wait to hear this. All right.
So, you know how people want to live in a relationship?
Right.
Now, they want to end it, but they hate where they are and want to go a better place. It doesn't work that way.
Wow.
You know how you're in an organization,
Yeah.
you hate your job, but you want the same job to promote you.
Right.
You know how you're in a city and you speak against that city, and yet you want that city to protect it, to provide it. It doesn't work that way. And that's why we bring alternative thinking to people. No, I like the way the writer of Ecclesiastes put it in chapter 3. He said, "So everything that happens in this world happens at the time God chooses. He set the time for birth and the time for vet, time for planting and time for pulling up. He set the time for love and time for hate. This isn't.
Right.
The time for war and the time for peace, like we have in Ukraine. He has set the right time for everything. He has given us the desire to know the future, but never given us the satisfaction of fully understanding what He likes. So I realize that all we can do is to be happy and do the best we can while we're still on earth. I like the way the writer of Matthew says something. He says, simple yes or no will survive. Anything beyond that springs from evil.
Wow.
The guy went on to say in Ecclesiastes, said, but against all illusion and fantasy and empty talk, there's always this rock foundation, fear God. For many dreams bring futility, worthlessness, violent emptiness. And in many words, there is emptiness and rather than. So, what is the aim of this discourse? Is to activate our life view to an expanded view. Because sometimes we're in a cycle. We're in one spot, wanting something to happen, but we're creating a direct opposite. So we want to activate your empowered life view. We want to bring healing to your troubled life. This is meant to end the unproductive life, the stress and the struggle, the unfavorable life, the overwhelming pressure, and the meaninglessness, the impossibility mindset, the victim mentality and double standard and the self-sabotage. I'm interested in that double standard. So now, have you heard about women or men who want their spouse to die?
Sadly, yes.
So now they want a good home, but in their influence of their desire, it is a different opposite thing. And so they wish the husband to die or the wife to die so that they can move on. Meanwhile, you can't, the person won't die because indirectly you're wishing the person peace.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So now you're the one wishing. So you are the one thinking. And as a man thinking, so he is.
So he is.
You are the one experiencing death while you're expecting flourishing. So let's look about 3 foundations that a man should adopt. And that's what I've really, really been working on myself. Number 1, shoring up an uplifted faith. Your life is embedded in faith. Now, this is not the religious kind of faith where people who say, I got faith. You got faith, you're waiting for God, but you're looking for alternative.
Wow.
You can't get through anything when you build, well, you can get through to everything when you build a strong faith, which is non-attachment. So you don't attach to a particular outcome. Outcome is a gift. You're open to outcome.
Wow.
Faith, which is non-attachment, always is a channel of sound source perspective. You see me here? I can't be deceived. It's a source perspective.
Right.
So now, even when there is a contrary sickness or something, I'm not looking at that sickness. I'm looking at my source perspective.
Wow.
So that will enhance my faith. Now, each time you are in a situation and you're thinking contrary and you want deliverance, it is the contrary that persists, not what you desire.
Wow.
And this is one secret I've come to realize. You know how I wanted a job badly, but I hate the job I'm doing. Hatred builds momentum around you, and you function from that mindset, function from that frequency, function from that perspective. And that's what drives you into getting another job. No, you have to be at peace with where you are to form a peaceful momentum so they can drive you to where you're going.
Profound.
So number 2, deepen love in life. The contrary to life is not hate, it's love. Not judgmental. The moment you are judgmental within yourself, you see, you pass that judgment to others. Once you're biased, you pass that bias to other people. Once you're prejudiced, now you start resisting people. But love is, if your boss hates you, love him. Now, there is a sequence of principle of seeding that you activate when you love your hating place. It is not what is done to you that matters, it's what you do. It's not what is said to you that matters, it's what
you say, right?
So in love life, you are not judgmental of any situation or circumstances. Now, people say they are in goodness. You can't be in goodness, exhibit an attribute of badness. So if you say, for instance, that you are loving, you can't hate at the same time.
True.
Number 3, what we call the peaceful disposition. The inner tranquility that does not depend on the uncertainties of daily life. One's mind is quiet and satisfied, the state of reconciliation, silence, and agreement. I've told you all these that, trusting me, you will be unshakable and assured, deeply at peace. In this godless world, you will continue to experience difficulty, but take heart, I have conquered the world. The attribute of peace is kindness, considerate, respect, just, tolerant, and orders. Believe, behaviors, tending to manifest goodwill. Did you see what we did with that guy? Right?
Right.
When I picked that call, I loved him.
Wow.
I made peace with him internally.
Wow.
Did you see his response?
His response changed.
Change automatically. But if I have judged him as evil, I'll activate the same frequency.
Right.
We just dragged him into our peaceful closet. That's how it works.
Wow.
So, how can you deserve wellness, but at the same time, you manipulate others? How can you desire a healthy life, but at the same time, you're addicted to a substance? How can you long for a wonderful and peaceful home, but at the same time, you harbor resentment, unable to express your need lovingly? People communicate emotion rather than communicate their need.
True.
How can you demand respect from your children, but at the same time modeling the opposite?
Right.
So you don't respect them, but you want them to
respect you. Right.
Where are they going to get that respect? So you see the double standard we're talking about, that is self-sabotage. How can one demand trust from partners and associates, colleagues, and at the same time acting in contrary manners? And they say nobody can be trusted. How have you modeled trust?
True. Wow.
How can you demand accountability, but at the same time issuing conflicting orders? You know how a boss want the bottom line, you falsify figure, and you want your subordinates
Right.
to be straight. You're teaching them. You're modeling sincerity and dishonesty. And this is the contradiction of life that people don't get to know. How can you demand faithfulness and loyalty at the same time behave otherwise? How can one expect to be successful but at the same time you are making others unsuccessful? Because each time you drag one down to be up, then you're putting a principle of downward. How can you detest someone at the same time enjoy his goodness? You know how people hate people, but they love their money. They can't stand them, but they love their gift. How can you expect a promotion in the same organization that you seek their downfall? You don't like them, but they want good to come. How can you expect this nation to be governed well, but at the same time you're willing to get your PVC?
Touche. Right.
And so you allow people to decide your future, and you complain. The imbalanced life. Time has gone. False peace. Why you're not enjoying the relationship? Discuss it. And now, the discussion is not an emotion of hate. It's an emotion of love. You don't sow your word as a seed in hot water. You sow it in cold water.
Wow.
False self. Inability to speak in love. Even when you're hurting. Check this and what happened here now. I just said keep medical. And I move into that.
Right.
And the guy agreed. Because I'm thinking for him, not thinking for us. Aimlessness, self-deception, opposite. Now, I'm a guy. You know when we're dating two girls, two ladies, you're unstable, mental awareness. Because you want to hurry and jump to the other one. You are unstable. That's what we call the opposite disposition. Behaving one thing or believing one thing and acting differently. Loving and hating at the same time, holding contradictory belief and performance contradiction. What it does is that, you know, people are working. They are telling you, I'm only at this job, I'm doing this job because of the money.
Yeah.
If you are in that state, you will never be productive.
Wow.
You will never get to enjoy that moment. But I think I will stop it there.
Amazing.
There are other things that I really wanted to do.
Amazing. Sadly, I don't even know where the time runs to, but I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, wow, where did all the time go? Well, you mentioned so many profound things. One of the things that really, stuck was the fact that you cannot operate from a place of love and exhibit attributes of hate. I mean, when you mentioned, I'm like, wow, that is so profound. And many times we are in this place of unconscious self-sabotage, like you mentioned.
Because we justify the wrong. That's part
right.
of it. Justifying the hurt doesn't mean that you have to be hurt.
Wow.
There's
wow.
no justification about it.
Wow.
I mean, I struggle with some of these. But because now I am mindful, I was going to talk about how to get in here. People don't set baselines. What is baseline? Your core values. The moment I establish my 8 core values, I start becoming mindful of it. So I operate from them because I'm mindful of them. So I'm intentional about them. Now I keep aligning. So when I get out of that alignment, my heart hurts. There's a signal in your heart.
Like, yes, you have come out of it. Yeah.
Out of that alignment.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So you go back. And in society might look at you as weak. But yeah, they can enjoy the tranquility, the peace.
That you enjoy.
That you enjoy, the success.
Wow. Wow. Amazing words. I'm sure you have taken home something. I was hoping that there would be a sufficient time to really discuss this, but time is totally spent. Thank you so much. I mean, in this very short 15 minutes, I have learned a lot of things already, and that's what it always is, just sitting down and hearing you speak. Thank you once again for your time,
so
sir.
Much. It was nice having this conversation with you.
Always a pleasure. Yeah. Always a pleasure.
And if you want to reach me, 0033-411-451, 0033-411-451. Reach out at Standard in all our social media at So I Stand Out. On
all social media platforms. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Have yourself a lovely weekend.